That's the card.
It's Cactus Bouncer,
with
baby.
Robbie. It's Cactus Bouncer all day, every time.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I hope that you are keeping well and doing very, very good. It's been a while. I know that it's been a little while, but as a result, we have got a lot of stuff to catch up on because the last couple of months have been a pretty chaotic time for the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Just over a month ago, we had the release of the brand new core set Blazing Dominion, which with it released some key new staples, which have really had a massive impact on the Yu-Gi-Oh format. Cards like Dominus Spark and Solemn Accusation, just to name a few, as well as it's released some new support for some older decks like Doom Z, which has also had a nice little shake-up to the metagame. Following the release of Blazing Dominion, we had a brand new Forbidden Unlimited list, which I think was received with some very mixed reviews by the community. I personally felt quite neutral towards the list, but I think that is very much due to the fact that I have been a branded player for the last 6 months, and so seeing decks like Branded Dracotail, which is by far the worst matchup for that deck, phase out in popularity, it's been good. It's been good. On top of all of this, we are in the midst of national season, and so we have been blessed with various live streams and tournament reports from all of the national championships happening across Europe, as well as YCS Columbus, which took place a few weeks back as well, seeing Jesse Cotton win his 9th YCS title with the aforementioned Branded Dracotail. So yeah, maybe that deck's not dead after all. So yeah, it's been a really exciting time for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been a lot of metagame shifts, a lot of things to keep track of. And that kind of brings us to the point of this video, which is that next week I'm attending the UK National Championships in Birmingham. And I really want to do well. Last year I managed to top UK Nationals, and I really want to run it back again this year. I want to play well, I will hopefully want to do well. And at the very least, it's another opportunity for us to try and get our invite to the European Championships. A goal which is still managing to evade us. I don't know why it's so difficult this year out of all years, but yeah, that's still something that I intend to check off my bucket list. But before even any of that, this weekend we have got an OTS Championship coming up at the Gamers Lodge, home territory, of course, which will be another opportunity to try and get our invite there. That should hopefully alleviate some of the pressure from Nats if we can manage to do it. So there's a lot of really exciting things coming up, but of course, as you should expect from this channel now, we need to decide on what deck we are going to bring to Nationals, as well as the OTS Championship this weekend. There are a small handful of decks that I want to just go over my thoughts on and talk about why I'm considering them for Nationals. I want to open the floor up. You guys can let me know what you think on some of the decks that we're about to go into. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first and most obvious pick for my Nats deck is, of course, Branded Desperia. If you've been keeping up with this channel, you would know that this is the deck that I have essentially been non-stop playing since the new support for the deck released back in February earlier this year. It is by far the option which I have the most experience with, especially in recent months. I ended up taking Branded to the UK Open back in March earlier this year, and it's safe to say that the power level of the format has lowered significantly since the release of the most recent Forbidden Unlimited list, and as a result, I think Branded really thrives right now. Its ability to break boards with in-engine cards like the Fallen the Virtuous, which is searchable off of every extra deck monster in the deck pretty much, as well as Super Polymerization is just the best card in the format at the moment, and there's no better Super Poly deck than the thing that can fuse Alabaz with basically anything on the board. So it's no surprise to me that it's predicted to be one of the top decks of the format, and you know, Branded Fusion to 1 really didn't do anything at all. I was expecting them to ban it. I really was expecting them to ban Branded Fusion, so the fact that we still have it at 1, I'm chilling. I'm so down for that. I do have some serious concerns, however, the biggest of which being the mirror match. In my experience, it definitely feels like when you get to that kind of higher caliber of players playing in the mirror match, it boils down to a bit of a hand comparison, which I really don't like. Also, maybe it's just who gets to Super Polymerization first. On top of the fact, the biggest issue being that the mirror matches take so long, and the concept of going into time and receiving double losses, especially over a longer tournament, is very, very real, and it's something which I'm really concerned about. And it's the biggest thing that's deterring me from playing branded Desperia at Nats, which is a shame after everything that I've just said and how comfortable I am with the deck. Currently it is the leading contender for deck choice for Nats, but I have very much not made up my mind, and I'm very open to some of the other options, like our next deck, which is Mitsurugi. I have got such a mixed relationship with this deck. Every time that I think I'm out, it pulls me back in somehow. I don't know how. The biggest selling point for Mitsurugi for me at the moment is, of course, the non-engine. And that's going to be an ongoing theme with some of the other decks that we've got to talk about later on. But the fact that this deck can play Dominus Impulse, Dominus Spark, Harmonia, if you really want to play that. You have draw power with Pot of Extravagance or Vision, or however you want to build the deck. The lack of extra deck commitment means that you can go really in on a super polymerization package. There are just lots of selling points towards Mitsurugi for me at the moment. But as I have said before on this channel, I do struggle with the consistency issues that the deck provides. The bricks like Kusanagi and Saji, I'm prone to drawing them so often, and it's still a bit unclear as to exactly where Drawn Lockbird fits within the current meta game. I think if I were to play Mitsurugi, I would want to play more of a kind of heavier control, maybe board breakery style version of it, where you go really in on super polymerization, play just like all the targets, as well as the utility extra deck monsters that you need to play Mitsurugi, like IPSP, all of that stuff. But then post side, you can just play things like Di-Fi. That's going to solo games. It's hard not to acknowledge those benefits that the deck provides. So yes, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't seriously considering Mitsurugi. I also really like the fact that, let me just put the mic here, there you go. The fact that the whole deck comes in common thanks to the legendary duelist deck. There's something about all common non-foil decks that I just really like. People might strongly disagree with that. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. It's either rags or riches, rags or riches. But whilst we're talking about decks that can just play some really broken non-engine, the next deck that I want to talk about is the brand new deck, Power Patron. The card quality of some of these Power Patron cards is absolutely insane. Geppetto, the green Power Patron guy, is one of the most broken cards that I've ever read in my entire life. The fact that card can not only search you engine, but also break your opponent's board in the process is insane. And the boss monster Vidolium is just incredible going second. Its ability to basically just slam itself down as a 5k beta, it can even boost itself up to 10k, I believe, and just swing for game, unaffected by monster effects. Crazy card. I know at the start, people were very unsure as to how it would sit as a pure deck, but now I think people are really starting to acknowledge the potential of some of these cards. Again, it can play all the Dominus, it can play Impulse Spark, you can even play Songs of the Dominators if you really want to. And low-key, it is the branded killer of the format. It can summon out the new rank 10 that came out in Blazing Dominion, the Mercurium, I think it's called, and that just shuts off branded. So I know there is an FTK version of the deck around. That's not what I'm talking about. I also know that there is the version with the Amorphage, Sloth, and Lechery, I think it's called. I don't have access to those cards. Maybe I could pick them up for Nats. Ultimately, the biggest thing that's putting me off this deck is the amount of time that I have to learn and master it. I wish that I had a little bit more time, or I had acknowledged that this could have been a potential viable option earlier, so I could have put a bit more practice in. That is the main thing. I also don't have Nevados. For whatever reason, in my local area, Nevados are just impossible to find, so that we don't even have the full core as of yet. So that's it. We have 3 decks. We've got Branded, we've got Mitsurugi, and we've got Power Patron. There's no other decks that I'm considering. There's no other dark-based decks that can play Impulse and Spark and a bunch of non-engine. Guys, I think I might want to play Malice again. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's just the deck that never dies, man. I played Malice back towards the end of 2025 for the UK Open last year, and sacrilege to say, I thought it was really good, but I did drop it when Whitebinder was banned because I just thought the deck wouldn't be viable anymore. But lo and behold, there's now been another 6 months of Malice going around topping events, and with the release of the new staples like Dominus Spark, it's got even more tools to stick in its arsenal. Also, the fact that post board you can still consistently draw 3 to 4 cards on your turn uninterrupted if you play the Heat Soul line. You're pretty much always guaranteed to see your non-engine and then in games 2 and 3 your sideboard cards if you go first. Malice's ability to just be that kind of more toolboxy, non-engine driven deck, I think could make it a viable option, especially because now at the moment there are so many FTK decks running around, as we previously discussed the Power Patron FTK, but I think there's also now an Earth Machine FTK. A deck that plays so many hand traps, I think has such a great matchup into those decks, and that could be a real threat at something like a national championship. So my main issues are that it can struggle quite a bit going second. You don't necessarily have the room to play these board breakers like the Fallen and the Virtuous. You can maybe play Super Poly, but you don't have as many extra deck flex spots as one may like. Also, it does just have a consistency issue, as you would expect. White Rabbit to 1 was definitely a choice, but I don't think it's had quite the impact on the deck that maybe it should have had. But then again, it's a Cyburst deck, and like every Cyburst card that's been released in the last year, I'm fairly certain could pull off full Malice combo. So, and on top of all of this, it is also a deck that I am more familiar with, and so wouldn't feel quite as bad about switching to reasonably last minute. I took Malice to locals a few weeks ago, and I did the best at locals that I've done since the last time that I took Malice pre-Whitebinder ban. So, but don't worry, I did then take Branded to locals the next day and had the exact same record. So I'm definitely not saying that Malice is better than Branded, but it's just nice to know that it can still work. It can still work. You'll notice that all of the decks that we've spoken about today can play some combination of Dominus cards. At least all of them can play Dominus Spark, because I think that card is broken. I think a lot of this format is going to boil down to the non-engine that these decks can run. As I said earlier, we have got an OTS Championship coming up at the Gamers Lodge, and I think I'm going to stick with the game plan and bring Branded to that. Like I say, it's the deck that I know the most out of all of the options that we've spoken about today, and it's probably the deck that I'm most likely to get my invite with before Nationals, which is the goal. If you guys have had any thoughts on any of the decks that we've spoken about so far in the video, then please do let me know. But without further ado, let's build the deck, let's pack our bags, and let's head to our very first OTS Championships of 2020. See you there.
Hello. Have you come to gatekeep an invite from all of us?
Rob you all of your invites.
This isn't Power Patron.
Don't worry about it. It was a long day yesterday. I got FDK'd twice and I didn't do any of my FDKs. So we're going back to the good old Branded.
Sorry bro, you got your invite anyway.
Okay, so we're just getting ready for the tournament. I need to re-sleeve my deck because I've been using these same sleeves for quite a few weeks now. They've been holding up good. KMCs, as usual. We've got Aiden being head judge today, and he has very kindly sorted out some nice allocated seating next to a cut-out copy, can't quite see him there, of Joey Wheeler. So we're going to be manifesting some of that Joey Wheeler look in the tournament today. Quite a few people here already. I think we're anticipating a reasonable turnout. I think maybe something like 20, 25 tickets have sold already. So maybe, hopefully, we can get a few more walk-ins, get a tournament around 30 players, maybe like 5 rounds or so. And yeah, I'm praying that I don't get super polyed for my life savings all day today.
It's going to get super polyed.
We're also going to try and avoid the Enneacraft mirror match. Tony has decided that he's playing today, so we'll want to avoid Enneacraft at all costs. It is sick.
I'll add S&D.
Ramon in the books. Here's James. Cashtera Regenesis.
Cashtera Regenesis, yeah.
Gave Alish a run for his money. We took it after a really close game 3. Really nice guy. Really pleasure to play against him. We played against an OTS last year, and I got slated in the comments for keeping Nib in against Regenesis. So
we only do the 4 something at a time.
We only do the 4. So check out his channel. What was it again?
BJ yugioh.
BJ yugioh. Great feature matches. Great guy. Subscribe to him. On to round 2. Draw phase. Yep. Standby phase. Yep. Main phase. Yep. Yep. I see. Full loss. No response.
Fullest?
No response. Or somebody easy for grade. Yep.
Contact to effect the following. Sending for cost. Can't use an DSO infusion material?
I'm getting twisted. I'll go this.
Huh? Is that my main?
Yeah.
Normal summon effect.
Yeah. So here we are in the little backstreet hovel of the Gamers Lodge. In between rounds, bit of a quick 5-minute break after round 3, and it's not going well. Round 2, we play against Dragtail. I got really close game 3, managing to play through 3 set back row and a Secretarium with just like 2 or 3 cards in hand. But it was a double loss. We went into time. That does happen, although it doesn't feel great. And then round 3 just finished up and we played against Caleb. And Caleb and I have been talking a lot about branded theory, about deck lists. And so I know that he knows the deck really well. I think both of us misplayed quite a bit in game 2, and with 1 minute left on the clock, I saw that each had more resources than me, and I could see where it's going. So I thought, right, skip it up. It feels a bit like a bit of a curse with the camera. I went to locals last week and went undefeated with the exact same list, and then I come to an OTS and lose 2 rounds in a row. Obviously, we're still going to play the rest of the tournament out, but yeah, it's not looking good today. And to be honest, it's making me really rethink my deck choice for next week, because these mirror matches, man, they're tough. They're tough.
So unfortunately the microphone on my camera died towards the latter half of the day, and so none of the in-store A-roll that I recorded has got any audio to it. So I'm just going to go over exactly how the rest of the tournament went from here. In the 4th round of the tournament, we had yet another branded mirror match. This one almost went into time once again, but we managed to cinch out a victory at the last second. I should note at this point that I had tailored my list to have an advantage in the mirror match. I was playing significantly more Bestials, especially post side, as well as I was electing to run Proskinion in the extra deck rather than Queritus, because a Super Poly into most branded end fields can just summon Proskinion, you can summon back your opponent's Ecclesia, and then combo off from there. But if there's one thing to take away from these mirror matches, it's that it doesn't feel as though these silver bullet cards like Bestials are necessarily enough, at least by themselves. The mirror becomes so complicated and so prolonged due to these sort of micro interactions that occur. An example being one that came up quite a lot of, if your opponent summons a Dogma, you have to use so many of your resources to summon your own Dogma to out that, and that means that you can't kill them, and so they're going to accrue advantage in the end phase. And yeah, it's tricky to navigate, and I don't feel as though it's something that I can't do. It just takes a very long time to get that final push, and so yeah, it's hard to know how to avoid making double losses an inevitability, or going into time an inevitability, should I say. And then in the final round of the day, we played against Marius, who was piloting Blue Eyes. We lost the dice roll, but the deck did what the deck was designed to do. Unfortunately for Marius, I think the Blue Eyes was just in a bit of a rough position in the current format, with Albazes and Super Polys just being all over the place. Yeah, we managed to take that down, and our final record was, of course, X2. Never beaten the allegations. Never beaten the allegations. It's just impossible to go back to the next 2 on camera. What can I say? What can I say? So no, unfortunately, this was not the tournament where we get our invite to Euros, which does suck, but it is okay. I think that it's important to document these events which don't go quite as well as we'd hoped, as well as the ones which do, because that's part of the journey, you know? It's part of being a player in a game with so much variance, but also skill expression, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and that is okay. I've got a lot to think about for Nationals, a lot to think about. After the OTS, a bunch of us went to go and get some food and some drinks afterwards, and we were talking a bit about the state of the game as it currently stands. With the introduction of the brand new time rules, I've never really had an issue with them, and I'm really glad that game 3s don't just boil down to who can resolve their burn cards quicker. So overall, I do think that it's been quite a positive change. However, right now, I feel as though there are decks in the format such as Branded and Striker who, by nature of their design, go into a grind game. And this is the first time since the time rules changed where we don't have these silver bullet cards like Dogwood or, you know, or any other burn card that a deck might be able to slot in, that we can rely on to make sure that we get the victory in the end of it. And I think that's a good thing, but I think that then leads to a wider metagame choice of, if you think that a certain deck is going to consistently go into time, maybe the most optimal choice isn't to play that deck. I don't know. That's just something which I've been thinking about over the last few days. So it's back to the drawing board, which I didn't think I would end this video kind of in the same place that I started this video, but that's part of the fun of why we play this game. And it constantly changes and evolves, and we just need to adapt with that. And that's what makes a good player, and that's what I want to try my best to be. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's been a little bit different than what you might have seen earlier this year. I just wanted to make sure that I could get it out before Nationals. I hope that I have done that. We'll see by the time that this uploads. But yeah, if you want to see more content like this, please do let me know. Please consider subscribing if you did like it. I will be vlogging Nationals and Euros. Whether I get my invite or not, I am definitely going. So there will be more vlogs for those major tournaments on the way. And if you want to see more just like local, low pressure vlogs, then also let me know about that too. But yes, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you next time.
I'll take you away to where the sun shines.